Well, hello, Sarub Tiberwal.
Hey, hi, Rachael.
So I asked you to come on and have a conversation with me today. March 8th is International Women's Day.
Yay. Wow.
And I am facilitating a call called Receiving the Gift That You Are as a Woman is a time to stop putting your value through other people's presumptive realities.
Wow. That's such an invitation.
Mm.
You know, to be very honest with you, right from my very childhood, I have always been supported more by women than men. Like,
Wow.
yeah, always, like as a friend, as family members, like I always, every moment of my life, whenever it was something that, as a being, you sometimes require somebody to push you, support you, tell you that you go ahead, like always it was sometimes my sister, sometimes my mother, sometimes my friend, sometimes my girlfriend, all that. And my wife, and it's amazing. It's a day that must be celebrated, to be very honest with you.
Thank you so much for saying this because I invited you on because you're one of the men that supports me massively as well.
Yeah.
And even though we don't speak every day, I know I can always pick up the phone to you. I know that I can always ask for your support. And so the whole purpose of this call was you don't ever have a presumptive reality that I have to be a certain way because I'm a woman. Can you talk about what is that in you that you're so willing to, number one, receive powerful women, and number two, this willingness to see that as a gift and contribute? You're so committed to growth.
Thank you for saying that, and thank you for this question. When you asked me, I just sense that, okay, when I look right before this, we just one thing you said me is, which was I was pondering upon, like you said, that sexuality is something that has been done from the judgment, then from the polarity. And it's not something that we buy it as so real and true, but it is not. It's a presumptive reality. And I like, oh yeah, when you ask me this question and I get, okay, when I look at women, it is like I do not look at them as women. I look at them as infinite being, these amazing magical beings having this amazing body that we call woman, designed in a different shape than men. Like it's like we are using two different colors of iPhone. It's just like, just different colors. They are same energies flow, like it's like the underneath that, or what is making it run is the energies, that being. So being doesn't have any gender, being doesn't have any what you get that, like it's,
Separation.
yeah, being doesn't have any separation. And I think something, it comes from that, it's not something I do, I think, or it's I learned. It's just what is, and maybe that point of view allowed me to be supported by those women that I just talked about. Your point
Totally.
of view, it's your reality, and I always have, like it's like every time I fell down or I felt like somebody should hold my hand, it was like a woman around me, a woman body, and I'd say, hey, wake up, like, or do this, or it's like magical. When you just asked me, I said, wow, it's an honor if I can say something. It's like, so that's what I would say. It's yeah.
Thank you for saying this, because one of the things that we talk dynamically about in Access is humanoid women were not meant to be barefoot and pregnant. They're the ones that get out and change the world.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And I think when I came to Access, the point of views that I could, perceive that, wow, Gary is the first man I am seeing. And the first person actually is talking something, especially the book Divorceless Relationship. When I
Relationship. I was just thinking about it.
Yeah, and that book is like, wow. I think that is 1,000 years maybe ahead of time, or maybe, like just
Yeah.
telling,
Yeah.
even that will make sense. 1,000 years from now, people will be proud that, wow, somebody was there who wrote all this. It's amazing that the information he says, the way he puts that, humanoid women are, I think, and it's changing. I can sense that. I can perceive that. I know that it's changing. Humanoid women are waking up, realizing, that it's a presumptive reality that as a woman, you got to do this,
Marry 2 children, make the dinner, blah, blah, blah.
what else is possible now? I
and
see.
and then the final piece, I would have tortured myself for not being what I was supposed to be, according to the Irish Catholic point of view that I grew up with. And so for any women that are watching this and they're torturing themselves for, not being what they're supposed to be, for fitting the mold, you've talked about divorces, relationship. What is the one for you when a woman is choosing to be a woman with all aspects, true caring, leadership, bitch, all those energies of support, growth, what would you say to someone?
The first thing I would say is, just ask yourself that all the need of reactive reality that is creating this POC and pod. And one thing I would say is like, you always know, sometimes these things show up, and like, as we also know that nothing happens when we go through this. We have created it, maybe unconsciously, maybe uncognitively, maybe we don't know it from our thinking mind or logically, but we create it sometimes to bring or to allow those energy to actualize, which is there. That seed is with you, but you haven't put it into the earth and you have to water it. So you create all these circumstances, and that's the moment you got to ask, okay, what is that I'm creating with this? Is now the time for me to show up in my life, and it's now the time for me to choose something different. What am I here for? And that's the energy. Sometimes as an infinite being, we create all this because that kind of acts like a propulsion, accelerator.
It does. I'm going to recap your 3 questions because they're brilliant. So the first question recommended is, what can I now choose? Yeah. Is it now time for me to step up? And then the third one was, what am I here for? For me, there are 3 questions that I reflect on. So what can I choose now? Yes. I love that. What would it take for me to step up for me and be all of me? And then number 3 was, what am I here for? And just thank you so much for your support and being.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So cool to have you, know you, and interact with you. Truly, you are an amazing being. I am so grateful to have you in my life. Thank you for having me. And I mean it. Thank you.
And there it is, folks, beyond the sexuality point of view, beyond the separation of man and woman, better than less than, when we put our energies together and when we collaborate and be in communion, that is a force that we are creating in the world, and we will. Yeah, it's one of our big asks.
Happy Women's Day!
Hey! Thank you so much, and I adore you, and thanks for being here. We hope this contributed to Happy International Women's Day. Mwah.